What's going on, everybody? Dave Albritton here, Grace's husband. She asked me to make a little video today talking to you guys about insurance, some of the ins and outs, and some of the important things that you should probably know, especially if you're going to start your own food truck. So, I am an insurance agent. I used to do commercial insurance. I am only doing life insurance and index annuities now, but I can give you some really great info on the process for getting yourself insured for your food truck, properly insured at that. So, number one, let's talk about like some general coverages. Like what does it actually mean for you to be covered? The first and most common coverage that you can get in the commercial space is going to be called general liability. Now, this is a coverage that will essentially cover you in the event something happens and it is your fault or somebody is blaming you for something. And maybe like somebody slips and falls, where you're parked or where you're leasing or something like that. It's just a very broad, general type of coverage to protect you in the event someone is claiming that you're liable for their loss in some kind of way. And that's going to be your basic, most common coverage for the commercial insurance policies. Now, it gets a little bit more expensive when you start putting physical damage coverage on it. Okay, physical damage coverage, that rate is going to be based on the value of your of your trailer or your truck. So the higher the cost your trailer or truck is, the higher the cost physical damage coverage is going to be. In addition to that, there's other variables that they may consider, like if you are, driving with the truck, they may look at your motor vehicle record. They may look at the area that you're living in. There's several other variables, but those are the two key ones. Okay, the other coverage that I would pay close attention to, because in some states it's actually a law to have, and that's workers' comp. Okay, workers' compensation is essentially the insurance that would be paid out to a worker in the event that worker gets injured or ill on the job caused by something that they did on the job. Okay, and that's typically a separate policy than the general liability and physical damage coverage. Typically, the general liability and the physical damage coverage go together, and typically the workers' comp is separate. And then there's a bunch of subsequent covers. I'm not going to get into that. Spoilage, cyber security, things of that nature. But those are the three basic ones that you should be paying attention to. Okay, next, let's talk about how to find the best rates. You got a couple options, okay? You can go through a direct insurance company. These are the Allstates, the State Farms, the Farm Bureaus of the world, AAA, and then you can go through a broker. So I recommend contacting a couple of brokers. I wouldn't do more than two brokers. Here's why. A lot of the brokers use the same companies as each other. And what ends up happening is when you fill out the forms and they send them out, and they send them out to these companies to determine a rate. If one company sends an application to a carrier, right, and then another broker sends that application to the same carrier, they're essentially wasting their time because that first broker has blocked the market to that carrier. So you don't want 3 or 4 brokers out here sending applications to the same companies. Now, you might want to ask the brokers, hey, what companies do you plan on sending this to? That's a great way to vet them, by the way. That's a great way to figure out if they're experienced and they've actually done this before. They should have a pretty quick answer for you, like, oh, yeah, we use this company, that company, whatever it is. And then when you talk to the next broker, you can determine, okay, hey, they use some different companies than this broker, so, I'll go with these two. I use Farm Bureau personally for mine. They have phenomenal rates, and if you're in, one of the states that Farm Bureau exists, I would highly recommend checking them out. They are a really, really good rate. Okay, application process. So, application process is a bit different than homeowners or auto insurance, because with auto insurance especially, you can essentially create an algorithm where you're going to get a similar rate based on a number of variables. With commercial insurance, everything's a little bit different. Your trailer is going to be very unique to all the other trailers. Your equipment's different. Your business model is different. Whereas if you're insuring a Toyota Camry, that Toyota Camry is pretty much the same Toyota Camry as everybody else has, as long as it's the same year and same model and everything like that. So typically what happens, especially with a broker, you're going to go through a series of questions, and those questions are going to be sent to the carriers. Now, it's kind of important. You got to be honest as possible. There's some questions where they ask them, and you're just like, I don't even know the answer to this. I don't even think that applies to me, right? But just be as honest as you possibly can, because what you don't want to happen is for there to be a claim, and then they go back and look and said, oh, well, you actually marked that you didn't do this. You didn't travel across state lines or whatever it is, right? And then you travel across state lines, and then all of a sudden, they have an opportunity to deny your claim. Because believe me, these insurance companies, some of them, a lot of them, if they, by law, by the contract, can deny a claim, they very likely will. Okay, especially if it's found that you were dishonest on the application. So that's just my quick little tidbit on commercial insurance. And if you have any direct questions, go ahead and get a hold of Grace. I'll be happy to answer anything for you guys. All right. Appreciate you listening. Have a good day.